Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, and happy second week of Lent. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today we're going to be pulling from the New Testament portion of our readings today, and so I encourage you to go ahead and read 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 1 through 19, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so. In this passage, Paul is beginning his discourse to the churches of Corinth. We start off with a greeting, and we start off with a thanksgiving God, where Paul gives thanks to the Lord and acknowledges his ministry to the churches of Corinth, but gives thanks to God for the work he has done in the churches of Corinth. However, we see that Paul immediately goes into one of the issues that are plaguing the church of Corinth, and this issue is the issue of division. And division is just a very surface level issue that has a lot of deeper roots involved in it. But we see is Paul really addressing this problem within the church. The church was quarreling, it was fighting over who the church follows, who the people of the church follows. And with all of this quarreling and all these differences and their lack of ability to embrace these differences, we see that the failure of the church begins to allow them to divide. And if you know anything about the divisions of churches, it can be very detrimental. In this case, it was. And to the point where we understand that Paul understood that the following wasn't even justified, because he asks a very important question within verse 13. He says, is Christ divided? Right? The churches was focusing on who they follow. They follow Apollos, so they follow Paul, they follow Cephas. But Paul asks this very needed question, which is Christ divided? Is Christ divided amongst who you follow? Right? One of the most important things, one of the things that that has an ability to plague churches around us, including our church itself, is the problem of division. Right? We see in the unity of God and who Christ is in the desire to love one another, there is a beauty of embracing differences. And as long as those differences are within the gospel, of course, in accordance with what is right, in accordance with what Christ has preached. And so when we have these differences, it is a central identity of the church to be able to work in unity amongst the differences of the church. But when we start taking that and reacting to differences through division, then it becomes very problem and it becomes very sinful. And we see this not only in our relationships within churches, but we also see this in relationships in our day-to-day lives, where we see these differences become divisions. And Paul adheres to the teaching that we need to stay away from this. And this is something that breaks the Lord's heart, to see this happen, to see that this division is happening. And so I urge you this week, and as we start off this week and we continue on this Lent season, one of the beauties about Lent is that we are able to go through it together. Right? And there might be differences that we may have on how we approach different things in our faith. Yet, let us take some time to not only understand that this divisions in general can break the Lord's heart and can lead to very great sins, but also take some time to embrace that unity that we have with our differences as we continue with this Lent season. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a great and a blessed week ahead.